the action?
Yeah, as to why the ban has come into the action, I mean, what I can tell you is what I know from the international news wires, which basically stipulated and sort of, I think, in the sense, were providing this information to us and others, that the closure of these websites were linked to the publication of some sensitive telephone transcripts that were published in some of these websites that involved people discussing. There were people who were senior government officials in the Kazakh government, and they were discussing Mr. Nazarbayev's son-in-law, Rahat Aliyev, who had a fallout with the Kazakh president earlier this year, and he lives in exile in Europe. So basically, this was what seemed to have precipitated the shutdown of the websites.
So all of the websites of the opposition are banned. Is that correct?
What I know is all main opposition news websites that were one and another linked to. They were not necessarily linked to specific opposition groups, but they were certainly websites that were critical of the Kazakh leadership at times and were regarded as opposition news outlets, basically.
Otherwise, what is how do you observe the situation of freedom of journalists in that country, in Kazakhstan?
In general, I mean, freedom of journalists in Kazakhstan, or freedom of speech, let's put it this way, is limited, as you know. And in fact, it has gotten worse this year after the recent elections, in which basically and constitutional amendments, may I add, in Mr. Nazarbayev has basically strengthened his rule. Now the parliament does not include any opposition representatives, and Mr. Nazarbayev, of course, is now able to stay in power as long as he wishes, because there have been constitutional amendments that allow him to essentially stay on forever, or until the natural end of his life as president, which previously wasn't the case. So, in fact, this year we have been observing a certain strengthening of the repression of political opposition, of dissent, and of course including freedom of speech in Kazakhstan. So I would say that the situation in Kazakhstan has worsened since last year.